Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us for our community education series for the month of September. My name is Ruth, and today's episode is called A Mighty Village Supporting Families Navigating the NICU Journey. One of the observances we have in September is NICU Awareness Month, and in honor of that, we have a very special guest, Jessica Wade, who is the founder of Mighty Little Giants. And Mighty Little Giants is a nonprofit organization that advocates through providing support, education, and encouragement for mothers and fathers experiencing preterm deliveries resulting in long-term stays in the hospital NICU. So welcome, Jessica, and thank you for being here. How are you doing today?
Oh my goodness, Ruth, I am doing amazing. Thank you so much for having me. This is such a special space, right? Because I wear so many hats. And so I'm taking off my Healthy Start hat, put it on my Mighty Little Giant hat, and it makes my heart full. So I'm really happy to be here and share more about Mighty Little Giants.
Yes, and I'm so happy to be having this conversation with you because I do know that this is a cause that is very near and dear to your heart. So once again, thank you for being here. Can you start with telling us a little bit more about Mighty Little Giants and how it was founded?
Absolutely. So Mighty Little Giants, it's my hard work. It was founded off of my own personal birthing experience that was extremely traumatic. My son, Marlon Wade, he spent 143 days in the NICU. And through his pain came my purpose. So I really don't take this work lightly. It means everything to me. But from our experience, a lot of it could have been eliminated or didn't even have to happen if I was listened to in the beginning of my pregnancy. And so really advocating for NICU families is something that I hold very closely to my heart, to bridge and stand in the gap for those families in need. And so from our experience, we birthed Mighty Little Giants. We founded it in 2019. And, honestly, let me tell you, Ruth, I was just literally trying to eat and talk with the families. Okay. I just was trying to hang out. And we started support groups at the Antelope Valley Hospital. And one of the nurses was like, Jess, you should turn this into a nonprofit, right? And get funded. Our first groups, me and my husband, we took cans to the recycle center and was like really saving up money to purchase the crafts for our crafts and conversation sessions. And so we decided to found the nonprofit Mighty Little Giants. We prayed over the name for about a year. I didn't know what to call it. I knew I wanted to call it something that was impactful. And so Mighty Little Giants is not just a catchy name. For me, I thought about what are NICU babies? They're mighty in the NICU, they're little in the NICU, and then they become giants in this world. And so that's how Mighty Little Giants came about. We founded it in 2019. And now from that, we've been able to support so many families in Los Angeles County and now across California. But most of the counties we support is in Southern California. And we just continue to grow from there. And so now we're here supporting families in need who have babies in the NICU.
That's so amazing. And I love the name too, actually. It's like the perfect, it encompasses everything that it is. And they really are mighty little giants. Like, wow, the work that they do so early on just to, be here. It's amazing. So I really do appreciate and love that name,
Thank you.
Yes, and it's so amazing that you found a way to elevate the voices of NICU families based on your experience. Sometimes some of the most beautiful things come out of really hard experiences, and we get some great wisdom from our lived experiences. So I'm really grateful that you're sharing some of that with us today. Not all of us have been through that, but I do feel like it's important for all of us to have a little bit of education on how we can support families that are going through the NICU. So thank you for sharing that with us today. And so, yeah, based on your experience, and for those of us that haven't been through this, can you talk about some of the support that the community can offer to somebody that's navigating a NICU journey? Like, what did you need? What made a difference to you while you were navigating this?
Oh my goodness. So a couple of things made a huge difference. For one, the nurses in the NICU were so impactful for me. We were able to have a primary nurse, and I call her Mama Julie. We still keep in contact. I send her Christmas cards every year, but being able to have a primary nurse was something that I was able to rest in, because when I wasn't in the NICU, I knew that someone who I respected someone who respected me, someone who gave me honest feedback was going to be there with my baby. So I would say for me, if you know someone who has a baby in the NICU, really encourage them to request a primary nurse. But also community-based organizations. Like, I don't think we would have made it without our community-based organizations like WIC, who was able to provide us with additional food, because while we were in the NICU, me and my husband lost everything: house, cars, jobs. And we really needed to lean into those who could really support. And so, kind of being lost in the space, WIC was there for us to be able to provide us with extra nutrition while we're in the NICU. And then in the Antelope Valley, there was an organization called Secure Child Foundation. And like mentioned, we had to move out of our home because we couldn't afford the home that we were in. And so they were able to help us financially with transferring all of our utilities and everything over to our new place, and just really standing the gap in a space where we didn't know what to do. Other than that, this is why we started Mighty Little Giants, because that is pretty much all of the support that we got. I didn't really know about doulas. I didn't know about lactation education specialists. I didn't really know about IBCLCs. And so I educated myself in this space to be able to provide like support groups. We have our crafts and conversation support groups where we use artist therapy. And that is just a space where it's relatable. There wasn't a lactation space for families who are separated from their babies. I loved WIC, went to the groups, but I was the only one that was there without my baby. And so learning about lactation, about how our bodies are magical, we could do all things, and it just looks different when you're in the NICU. So being able to provide that support. But for the most part, community-based organizations were there for us, as well as like WIC and Secure Child Foundation. But internally in the hospital, my number one suggestion would be to get a primary nurse, and then to also request a family meeting at admission, or as early as you can after you're admitted. Request a family meeting, because what that will do is bring your whole baby's care team together so you can understand their role in their care, right? I didn't know what a respiratory therapist was because I never needed one, right? I didn't know that there were different, there are so many levels to the NICU, and there's so many people that are part of your baby's care. So requesting a family meeting will give you more insight on what's happening and who's taking care of your baby, especially when they're extremely sick. Their care teams can be larger than normal.
Yes, those are some great pointers. And it's true, like you don't know as you're navigating this, there might be resources and information available, but it's so daunting when you have so much on your plate, right? Like your focus is your baby. So yeah, I imagine it's hard to really know what to ask for and really know what resources are out there. So yeah, that's really important for the community as well as families in the NICU to know how can you what would make this experience a little bit better. So thank you for sharing those. Also, how can we as a community, outside of connecting our families to resources, how can we advocate for them in our daily lives? Like what action items would you give us, in our daily lives? A lot of times we're not aware that we can do things. We just kind of need to be guided, how we can advocate a little bit better or show up for these families. Even if we don't know somebody in that space, how can we do it in our daily lives?
Oh my goodness. In your daily lives, I would say, if you know someone who's in the NICU, don't ask them what they need. Like, I felt like for me, I don't know how to answer that, right? Because I need everything. Don't ask them what they need. Just let them know what you're going to do. Like, say, hey, listen, I know you have a baby in the NICU. We're going to do a meal train for you. Just letting you know what we're going to do. Or I know you're going back and forth. We live in the Antelope Valley. Our son was at Children's Hospital of LA, which is about 100 miles away, and we didn't have transportation, right? I'm going to get you a Metro card, or let me help set up transportation for you. Another thing that I would suggest people not do is to call and ask how the baby is every single day. For me, our son, he was extremely sick for months. He was on 12 drips. He was a candidate for ECMO. He had a blood infection. He had a complete respiratory failure. So there were days where he was like moment to moment, hour to hour, and then it turned into like day to day, then week to week. But in those moment to moment situations, I don't even know what's going on. I don't know how to answer that. And I was going through postpartum depression and didn't really know how to identify it. So every time I got a phone call on how is baby, that took over me because that was, you know, it was like another reminder of what we were experiencing. So I always suggest like, don't ask mama every day. Let her or the birthing person or the partner reach out to you and give you updates, and you just let them know how you're going to show up to them for them in that space. And if you don't know anyone who's in the NICU, but you do want to support like the NICU, I would say reach out to your local NICU social workers, see if they're having like a NICU reunion where you can show up and volunteer around the holiday season, especially at our children's hospitals or the hospitals who have level 4 NICUs. They have a lot of families who are flown into the space. Well, let me back it up. So level 4 NICUs are like our children's hospitals or our Rady hospitals in San Diego, where babies are not born there. It's an intensive care unit, so everyone is flown in, right? Or has to drive in there. And so most of the time, those families are in the NICU for 100 plus days, 200 days, 300 days at a time. They're separated from their families. So reach out to those families or those hospitals and see if you could donate around like the holiday season, and see if they need any hygiene kits or like what the need is and how you can give back. Those are just some ways. You can always reach out to your Ronald McDonald houses that are local to a lot of level 4 and level 3 NICUs where you can give back. They have Meals of Love where you can donate and sponsor a meal for everyone who is at the Ronald McDonald House. Or partner with the organization to sponsor. Those are just kind of like some touch points of what you can do to support.
Yeah, so many opportunities to get involved, like with this community, right? Now, what about Mighty Little Giants? So is there any volunteer opportunities there with Mighty Little Giants or for people to get involved with Mighty Little Giants with this great cause?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, most of our support is in hospital. So when we do have like volunteer opportunities, there's a process where you have to get like background checked and everything for the hospital. But we do have our crafts and conversations sessions monthly at our partnering hospitals. And we also have a group chat that we support families in where they can reach out and do more peer-to-peer support. Other items that we provide them with, we have NICU essential self-care kits that can be requested online. And we also have weekly, not group chats, weekly support groups that is invite only. So when families reach out, we have a program coordinator that will send them the link that they can join every Friday to get support. And on that link, there's also a mental health specialist that can provide support as well. And so we make that invite only because we want to keep the spaces safe. And, those who really, really are in need, we want to make sure they have a safe space to talk about what they're experiencing.
Right, right. It can be heavy, I'm sure. And they need that support group with people that are within that community. Yeah, so those are some great, great ways to get involved. I really hope that through today's episode, people gain at least a tidbit of knowledge on how we can support our NICU families, even if we are not in that situation or within those spaces. There's always something that we can do, something small. And, from a personal experience of mine as well, like being in the hospital, sometimes it's just a toothbrush, right? Sometimes you just need somebody to drop off toothbrushes or like
Yes.
a meal or something that can seem so small and not a big deal, but to that person in that time, it's a huge deal, right? So yeah, like I said, it can be a toothbrush, a little kit, a little hygiene kit, any little thing, right? Yeah. So there's always room. There's always room.
There is. And I'll speak on that too, Ruth. That's how we created our NICU Essential Self-Care Kits. It's things that like are so small. We have fuzzy socks. Like I remember my feet being freezing in the NICU, right? We have noise cancellation headphones because the beeps, the noises used to cause me so much anxiety, right? So to be able to turn that off, and just different things that you wouldn't think that you need until you're in that space, like a toothbrush, extra hygiene products, because sometimes you're in the hospital for days at a time and you don't have your daily essentials, a blanket. We have volunteers who knit blankets for us for around like the holiday season that we take to the NICUs. So even like a fuzzy blanket or anything that provides comfort is definitely helpful.
Yes, yes. I like I said, I hope people can take that from this, right? It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
a major like act of service. It can be something so small that makes such a
Hmm.
huge difference for our like mighty little giants.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
Yeah. So if anybody, our viewers would like to connect with Mighty Little Giants, we are
yes.
going to be tagging them below on this episode. Please follow them, support them, and help them elevate the voices of our Mighty Little Giants. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners and viewers today?
Oh my goodness. I will say, if you want your whole life changed for the better, you have to follow us on Instagram, so that you can see our babies and
Love
stay updated with our
it.
activities. And something that I always say to people who work with NICU families is, when you're treating a NICU family, act as if you're treating a whole community, because the way you treat one family is definitely taken to heart. So treat the family like you're treating a community, and know that you don't know what it took for this family to walk in the doors. So as soon as they get there, just have grace, have compassion, because know that they are extremely scared and they're looking to you for guidance. And so just have another layer of grace. Modify the baby schedule if you can, to make sure mommy's able to get some kangaroo care in, and
Hmm.
provide them with as much education as they can have, because most of the time it's new for them and they're looking to you
Yeah.
for support. Hmm.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Thank you so much for all that information and those bits of wisdom that, you
Mhm.
gained through your experience. So thank you so much for being here. I
Thank
appreciate your
you.
presence.
Thank you, Ruth. I just so grateful for you, and you're amazing. So I'm grateful to be able to share space in this way.
Thank you.
Right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.